Most men don't realize this. They're destroying their charisma in the first 5 seconds of meeting someone. Without even noticing, they send signals that make them look insecure, untrustworthy, or simply forgettable. And the truth is brutal. Once someone sees you as weak, it's almost impossible to flip that first impression. But here's the good news. If you cut out just 6 common mistakes, your presence instantly becomes stronger, more magnetic, and more respected. In this video, I'll break down exactly what those 6 mistakes are and what you should do instead. If you fix even one of these mistakes, people will instantly notice. But if you fix all 6, you will have the kind of presence most men only dream about. So let's get straight into it. Mistake 1. Acting like you're on trial. Most men walk into social situations and already assume that they need to prove themselves, and without realizing it, they act like a defendant in court. Their body tenses, their smile is tight, they overthink every word and every gesture. This is not presence, it's performance. You hear it in their tone, it gets slightly higher and overly polite. You see it in their posture, their hands are fidgeting, shoulders forward, and always scanning the room like they're waiting for a verdict. But here's the thing, when you act like you're being judged, people start evaluating you that way. That's why charismatic men don't perform, they assume they belong, and because they assume it, others believe it too. They don't rush to speak, they don't chase reactions, they don't try to manage every impression. Instead, they move with quiet ownership, not arrogance, but certainty, like someone who doesn't need to prove why he's there, he just is. So here's what I want you to try. Before your next conversation, drop the internal question, do they like me? Replace it with, do I like how I'm showing up right now? That one shift flips your posture, your tone, and your entire presence. It makes you feel grounded, and grounded presence doesn't beg for approval, it makes people lean in. Mistake 2. Speaking like you need permission. You can say the smartest thing in the room, but if your delivery sounds hesitant, nobody will remember it. Or worse, they'll dismiss it before it lands. This is the problem most guys have. They speak like they're asking for permission to exist in the conversation. Their sentences trail off at the end. Their statements turn into questions. They overuse filler words, just, maybe. And they rush, like they're afraid of taking up too much time. When your voice lacks certainty, your message loses weight. And people pick up on this faster than you think. They won't always know why they feel it, but they certainly do. That slight discomfort, that this guy doesn't fully back what he's saying energy. Charismatic men don't speak louder, they speak cleaner, slower, and with intention. They leave space between their words. They pause, not out of fear, but out of control. So here's what you can do to avoid approval-seeking language. Start by removing the disclaimers. Don't say, I might be wrong, but, or, sorry, can I just add something? Instead, speak, pause, and let it land. It's okay if there's a moment of silence. Embrace it. You don't need to fill every second. You don't need to wrap your opinions in soft padding. You're allowed to speak like what you're saying matters, because if you don't, no one else will. Mistake 3. Apologizing for existing. Nothing kills charisma faster than apologizing for things that don't matter. Someone mishears your name? Oh, sorry. You bump into a chair? Sorry. You give an opinion? Sorry, but I just think. When you apologize for things that don't require an apology, you send a signal, not just to others, but to yourself. I don't believe I'm allowed to take space without permission, and that's exactly how people will start treating you. Charisma comes from presence, and presence begins with ownership. You can't own a space you're constantly apologizing for being in. So next time you catch yourself saying, sorry, ask yourself, did I actually do something wrong? If not, replace the apology with clarity. Instead of, sorry I'm late, say, thanks for waiting. Instead of, sorry, but I just think, say, here's my take. You don't need to be rude, but you have to respect yourself enough not to shrink. This habit often goes deeper than just words. It's tied to your identity. If your default is to apologize for existing, chances are you've started to believe you're somehow in the way, that your presence needs to be justified. And if you keep reinforcing that belief through your language, it embeds itself. You don't just sound smaller, you become smaller. That's why changing how you speak is only step 1. To fully drop this behavior, you need to shift the way you see yourself. We break this down in much detail in our video on identity shift, including how to rewire the quiet beliefs that hold you back in every room you enter. If that speaks to you, make sure you check it out after this one. I will link it right here. Mistake 4. Forcing status through bragging. Most men want to be respected, but they go about it the wrong way. They drop achievements into conversations. They talk too much about what they've done, who they know, and what they own. But here's what they don't realize. The moment you try to force people to see you as high status, you reveal that you're not. Because real status doesn't announce itself, it's felt. You can tell when someone is comfortable with who they are. They don't need to flex, they don't need to prove. They just speak normally, and somehow you still lean in. People don't remember your status, they remember how you made them feel in your presence. Bragging makes people feel smaller, charisma makes people feel seen. So instead of throwing around your wins like resume bullets, tell stories. Not to impress, but to connect. Don't say, I've been hitting the gym 6 days a week. Say, for a long time I kept falling off with training, but once I started showing up even on the off days, I noticed how much more disciplined I felt in other areas too. See the difference? One is a flex, the other is a lesson. If your story teaches something, shows growth, or builds connection, share it. If it's just to boost your ego, skip it. People with real presence don't fight to be noticed. They're already grounded in who they are, and that's what makes others respect them. Mistake 5. Prioritizing agreement over authenticity. Most men think the way to be liked is to agree with everything. They don't realize that it has the opposite effect. It makes them look spineless. For example, your friend says, I think that movie was trash. And you respond, yeah, totally. It was really bad, even though you secretly liked it. What you've just done is sacrifice your authenticity for approval. And the second you do that, people stop trusting your reactions, because if you're willing to fake agreement over something small, what else are you faking? People can't connect with you if they never see where you actually stand. Being charismatic doesn't mean avoiding tension, it means being grounded enough to hold your own opinion without needing to push it on anyone. And that doesn't mean you need to challenge every statement. You don't have to be the guy who always disagrees just to prove a point. It means you're not afraid of a little friction, because real presence comes from being willing to risk not being liked in order to be respected. So next time you're in a moment like that, don't just follow the social momentum, take a second, then say something simple like, actually, I really enjoyed it, here's why. You're not defending a thesis, you're just being honest. And that honesty, especially when it's low stakes, builds massive trust. It shows that you don't bend just to fit in. Even if they disagree, they'll respect that you actually have a point of view. It signals confidence, presence, and most importantly, self-trust. Mistake 6. Trying to be interesting instead of being interested. A lot of guys think charisma means impressing people, saying smart things, telling cool stories, or making everyone laugh. So they talk a lot. They try to be witty, deep, and unpredictable. But here's what they miss. People don't connect with you because you're impressive. They connect with you because you make them feel seen. And you can't make someone feel seen if you're too busy trying to be seen yourself. Charismatic people ask real questions, not to keep the conversation going, but because they actually want to understand the person in front of them. They're not waiting for their turn to speak. They're simply listening to what the person in front of them is saying with honest curiosity. And that curiosity builds instant connection because it's rare. Most people are so self-absorbed that they don't even listen properly. So when someone comes along who really pays attention, it feels different. And people remember that feeling. So next time you're in a conversation, flip your focus. Instead of thinking, how do I sound right now? Or, is what I'm saying interesting? Ask, what is that person in front of me actually about? What is their story? What's really going on in their world? Ask better questions, then actually listen to the answers, because the fastest way to become more magnetic is to stop trying so hard to be magnetic and start being present. Charisma isn't some magic trait you're born with. It's not about being loud, entertaining, or socially perfect. It's about removing the behaviors that silently drain your presence and replacing them with grounded confidence, calm certainty, and honest expression. You can't fake that energy. You build it from the inside out. And that's exactly why we created the Stravity Confidence Guide. In it, you find 16 proven ways to become more confident in how you move, how you speak, and how you show up, no matter who's in the room. And the best part, it's completely free. If you're serious about leveling up your presence, I really recommend you get this guide. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed watching today's video and learned something along the way. If so, it would mean the world to me if you hit the subscribe button. I promise to put out even more fire content and continue improving. So thank you for watching and see you in the next one.